Hi everyone, it's Christine here from Christine's Stampin' Spot. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today I want to share with you how to make this little card I put together. This card was made using the Varied Vases bundle from Stampin' Up! And I think it is absolutely adorable, but it is so easy to put together. So let's go ahead and get started. Again, I'm using the Varied Vases stamp set and the Coordinating Vases Builder Punch. You can purchase these two together as a bundle and save 10% if you are interested. I'm also doing my next online class using this bundle as well. So I wanted to show one more project as a free tutorial on YouTube so you could kind of see, what this stamp set and bundle is all about. Okay, so the first thing that I did, and I did this prior to coming on camera just to save a little bit of time because there's a few steps. It's not hard, but it takes a little bit of time to do all the stamping. So I already went ahead and stamped our little vases on some scratched Whisper White cardstock and punched them out using the punch. So that's those three vases there, and they were all inked up with Gorgeous Grape. The three colors that we're going to be using today in terms of ink pads are Highland Heather, Gorgeous Grape, and Pear Pizzazz. And Highland Heather and Gorgeous Grape, of course, are brand new ink colors from our brand new color revamp that was just done. So I'm going to stick these three vases to the side for a moment, and I'm going to bring over a piece of Whisper White cardstock. This is going to be the piece of cardstock that is the main panel on our card where we have all of our stamping. And it is 3 3¼ by 4¼ And again, I will have all of this information on my blog as well. I have a link to my blog in the description box of this video below. And on my blog will be all the measurements as well as a link to all of the products used to create this card if you are interested. Now, as you can see on the final card here, I have this little scalloped line that goes across the entirety of the bottom of this white piece of cardstock. That is this image here. Let me show you on the cover of the stamp set. That is this little image right here. And of course it also has an outline if you wanted to do some two-step stamping with that image. I decided to keep it simple for this one, and I'm just using this image here, the solid filled in image. And I'm going to be inking that up with Highland Heather. And I want it to go straight across, but the image is smaller than the width of my cardstock. So what I'm going to do is grab a T-ruler. These are very inexpensive. You can get them at an office supply store. Even Amazon has them for about $6 or so. Mine's all gunked up because I also paint and I use this for painting. So please forgive the messiness of the ruler here. But I just want to get a straight line there and pencil. And I'm going to use that to line up my stamp to stamp it down. And then once the ink is dry, I can erase that line. So I'm going to open up my Highland Heather here. And then get this image nice and inked up. Just a little bit more ink on that side. Okay, now if my head gets in here, I apologize. I have to get right over this, and I'm stamping the tippy top of this image with at the top of this line. Does that make sense? I'm stamping it right over top of that pencil line here. That looks good, right there. Okay, so far so good, nice and straight, but I gotta stamp a few more over here. So I'm going to ink this up again, and now I have to get really over this with my head so I can line this up. So forgive my head in the camera here, but I need to line this up with a little banner on the left as well as with the line on the top to make sure that this all lines up well. Okay, good. That looks good. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and clean that off. I have my Stampin' Scrub off camera here. And now let's go ahead and plan our next stamping. And again, we'll erase that pencil line in just a moment. Okay, so here's the finished card. So what I did was I like to kind of place my little vases down first, just to get an idea of where I want the stems of my flowers to be. So I've already, like I said, punched those out. So this one's gonna go about here, and I'm just roughly placing them down right now. This isn't perfect or anything. This one's gonna go here, and this one's gonna go here. Again, ish. They're gonna go here-ish. All right, so the first flower I'm doing is this little loop-de one that kind of goes off the side, and it looks like this, and it's the outline. When I do two-step stamping using this stamp set, I like to do the outline first and then fill it in with the thicker, more filled-in images. So I'm going to grab the outline image here, put that on a block. And I did all of my outline stems in the Pear Pizzazz. I love this Pear Pizzazz mixed with these purple colors. I think it's so beautiful. So I'm just going to ink this up here, and then we're just going to sort of play with it. I'm not stamping it down yet. I know I want it close to the top. So I'm going to put it about here. So now I can remove my vases. I keep my hand as steady as I can. I know about where I want it, and I'm going to go ahead and ink it down. Okay, cleaning that stamp off so I can reuse that block. Now I'm going to take the fill-in that goes inside with my Highland Heather here, and you just have to simply peer through your block and line everything up. I'm trying not to get my head in, forgive me if it is. I want to get the best image I can. It's really easy to do in person. It's just not as easy to do with a camera over your head. Not bad at all. Okay, so that one's done, and that's gonna look like so. I got a little smudge there, see, but it's no problem because the vase is gonna cover it. So don't sweat the small stuff, guys, I promise. Everything can be fixed in stamping. All right, so I'm just gonna lay this back down here for just a minute because I wanna get the placement for my next image. So that's gonna go about there-ish. Let's grab our stem, which is, I'll show you on the cover. It's a little easier to see on the cover here than trying to see what's on the clear block already. It's this image here is the next one, and then you have this is the fill-in. So for step one, step two. Step one is going to be in the green, and I'm placing this here because I don't want it too high. If I go too high, I'm going to be stamping right over what I just stamped down. So that's why I kind of have the vase here. I know about where I need it to be. I'm going to scooch this over just a little bit, and we're going to put it, yeah, let's see. We're going to put it, you know what? I'm actually going to scooch it over this way just a little bit, I think. And I promise you, this isn't hard. It's just a matter of lining it up and getting it exactly, you know, where you want it so you're not inking over what you've already stamped down. Okay, so let's go ahead and actually move it over just a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So I am going to remove that and stamp it down. I actually inked a little bit too much of the stem. We don't need too much of that stem showing. Just inking about a quarter of the way down here. And now I'm going to stamp it right about here. Okay, good job guys. And then this is gonna go right here. So you have a little bit of the flowers towards the bottom, but that's fine. And now I'm going to go ahead and ink the inside of the flowers up using the Highland Heather. And again, you just peer through the block and stamp it down. Pretty, very pretty. And you know what I might do, since I messed the stamping up just a little bit, I might just switch my vases and put this little vase here, like so. Put that one there, and then we'll put this one here. No big deal, right? And I always keep my mistakes in my videos because I want you guys to see that mistakes are quite common and not a big deal. Really not a big deal. Okay, the next and final flower that we're gonna do is this one here, and then the fill-in here. So I'm gonna do, this is step one in the green, and this is step two in the Highland Heather. And so for this one, I'm gonna have it about like so. I don't want it taller than the one on the left, but a little taller than the one on the right. And I'm just doing this a little bit differently from the sample card, and that's fine. No big deal. Again, I stamped a little bit too much of the stem. You only need to stamp about a quarter or to a half of the way down on your stem. Okay, so I'm gonna put this about here. Okay, done. All right, and now we're going to take the fill-in for that, which I just showed you on the cover there. And we'll be stamping that, inking that with our Highland Heather. And then again, you just simply peer through this stamp on your block and ink it down. There we go, very pretty, very pretty. Okay, so now we have our flowers and our little vases all done, like so. Okay, that's looking good. That's cute, huh? What do you guys think? I think that's really cute. Okay, now I just did 3 little flowers over on this side here, and then our sentiment, and then we're all done. So the little flower that I did over here is actually this one and this one. So you have your, for this one I actually do the solid one first and then the outline. So I do this in my lightest color and then the outline in my darkest color. And I'm just using my 2 purples for these flowers. So the Gorgeous Grape and the Highland Heather. And I'll show you what this will make sense as I do this here. So I'm going to take the lightest color first in the Highland Heather, and I can cover the smudge I accidentally got over here as well by doing this. So we're going to cover the smudge. Haha. And then this one, oh, I don't know, about here. And then this one, no right or wrong to where you put these. I'm just having fun with them right there. Okay. And I'm just going to clean that off and then grab the outline, and that one's going to be in my darkest color. So I can close up my Highland Heather, and while I'm at it, I can also close up my Pear Pizzazz because we are done with our greens as well. Okay, so now I've got my outline and my Gorgeous Grape, darkest color, and I'm just going to peer through the block and line this up and stamp it down. And it's just really pretty and cute. Just a simple little flower, which of course you could also have coming out of your vase if you wanted. And I'm not getting them, you know, perfectly lined up because of the camera, but you get the idea. Okay, now I'm going to do a different sentiment this time. So I think I'm just going to do a hello sentiment that'll just fit right across the top there. And I'm going to be doing that in my darkest color, which is again is the Gorgeous Grape. So I'm going to grab that little hello image and my little block here. I'm going to ink it up in the Gorgeous Grape and stamp it down right here. And there you go. Now we can take our Gorgeous Grape ink pad and go ahead and close that up. Move the finished card out of the way. I'm going to grab a couple dimensionals now, and we're going to work on putting down our vases. Peel the backings off of the dimensionals here, and then stick it down. Oh, before I do that, let me grab my pencil. I'm going to grab my eraser and just lightly erase that pencil line, just so there's no traces of it. It was so light anyway, you probably couldn't see it, but just in case, we're going to erase it so it's all gone. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and stick this first vase down, just centering it with the stem, so the stem is right in the center. Now I'm going to take one dimensional for the smaller vase. I'm going to stick that down like so. Whoops, let me peel that up. I didn't get it quite as far down. I'm lining them up along the bottom here, kind of using this element as sort of a table idea, you know, or a ledge or something for the flowers to sit on. And I'm also making sure that the little stems are sort of centered in the vase as well. Okay, there we go. All right, so now all we have to do is finish up this card. Our stamping is done. And that just goes to show this is not the exact layout as you can compare the two that I had planned when I came on camera, but sometimes your stamping just doesn't go quite as you planned. And what happened was I simply put my little scallop too far up. And so that meant the vases had to come up, which meant that I couldn't get this high enough without these blocking or stamping over them. So I had to alter my plan a little bit. I had to put a different sentiment on, but it's really no big deal. I think they're both really pretty, and it just goes to show that, you know, you don't always end up with what you planned, but you're always going to end up with something pretty. And that is something that I have found with Stampin' Up, and why I'm back with Stampin' Up is because with limited supplies, and you really don't need much in the way of supplies, and you use their products, and you are able to put together gorgeousness without much effort. And that's great, especially, you know, all of us are so busy in our lives, and so that's really something that I think is extra special with Stampin' Up. Okay, so our next step is we're going to bring over a piece of crumb cake cardstock to mount our panel onto. All right, so let's go ahead and add some snail to the back of our Whisper White panel here. I'm gonna remove my Stampin' Pierce mat. We don't need that anymore. All right, and we're just going to center this on the back here of our, or on the front rather, of our crumb cake cardstock. Now I'm going to take some of this beautiful Gorgeous Grape ribbon, and this is called, let's see, mini striped ribbon. It comes in a few different colors, and it's absolutely beautiful. I love it. I'm just going to kind of measure it out so I have enough to flip it behind and attach it to the back of the cardstock. Now I'm going to flip it back over, add a little bit of adhesive to either side, or either end rather, of the ribbon. And then what I'm going to do is sort of just stick it to the bottom here of this piece of cardstock and flip it over and stick it down. And I'll show you what I mean in a sec. I'm flipping it over and that adhesive now is sticking the ribbon to the back. Okay, that looks good. And you can play with it, get it exactly where you want it, kind of thing. All right, then I'm going to cut just a little bit more. And we're just going to create a little loop, little loop-de-loop or whatever you want to call it on this end here. So I'm just going to feed it through and then tie a little knot like so. And then just trim off the edges. Just for a little extra to the front of the panel. And then I'm just going to trim the edges a little bit. They don't need to be quite that long. There we go. Okay, cute. Now we are ready to put the rest of the card together. I have an A2 size card base and crumb cake, and I have this beautiful piece of gorgeous grape cardstock. Now can you see the texture on this? Is that picking up on camera? That is absolutely beautiful, and that was done using the, let's see, Ruffled Dynamic Textured Impressions embossing folder. For these that are so 3D, these embossing folders that are the Textured Impressions embossing folders, the sandwich that you would use is you would just need your Big Shot platform, your embossing folder with your paper inside of it, and one cutting plate, and you run it through and you're done, and you get this absolutely gorgeous result. Now only a little bit of this is going to peek through the way that this card is designed, but that's okay. I really just wanted to show you and play with it. So let's quickly put this down. And then we'll use some dimensionals to pop this down as well. And we'll just center this right here in the middle. And that's it, guys. 2 super cute cards using the Varied Vases stamp set. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I had so much fun sharing this with you today. One last thing that I would do, but I won't take your time because this video is already pretty long, is I would add some rhinestones to the middle here and a couple up here. But that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Super simple to put together, super fun. Love this stamp set. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks. Bye-bye.